Hey guys, this is Shirley, founder and chief power officer of Life on Power in the brand where we are right now in this community. What if she knew she was powerful? This is our first broadcast for 2022, and it is day 3 of 2022. But I wanted to share something with you. So I had a challenge for myself, and it was for me to do something 7 days, 7 times each day. Didn't know. Actually, I did it based on me wanting to make sure that I really kicked off that value that I really need to work on, and that's my physical health. Because my physical health impedes my emotional health. So if I get one pretty good, then I'll have some tools for the other one. So my physical health is what I wanted to make sure I no longer did 3 steps forward and 7 steps backwards, right? And I have this thing. I don't do resolutions every year because resolutions for me are temporary. As a matter of fact, anyone that I've coached, anyone I've talked to, anyone that I've mentored, I'm never going to recommend resolutions because they're temporary. Goals, though, are sustainable and you are able to align goals with your values. Why is that? Because goals require strategy. So the strategy means that you create all the steps to reach your goal and do those things consistently, and you do those things without faltering. You create that strategy on a week by week, month by month by month, however way you want to create that strategy. But I believe that goals are easier to align with your values, which is why I lean on goals more than I do resolutions. But I it's goals that I create every year. And every year I do create those physical health goal. And I reach it sometimes I don't, because it's not the same goal every year. Some years it's just so that I get off sugar some. Some years it has been drink more water. Some years it has been to physically exercise more. So it's not always the same. And I don't always get it right all the time. But the power of truth is that if I'm going to fall off, it's going to be during the holidays when I have access to all the foods that I don't particularly have access to throughout the year, because maybe that favorite cake, someone only cooks it or bakes it that time of the year, or that favorite food that I'm only going to get that time of the year. But I challenged myself, in prayer. I was challenged really by the Holy Spirit to do this 7 days. I walk on a regular basis. That's my choice of physical activity, walking. Then I do some stretching sometimes on a daily basis, and I like Pilates. I've done a few things years back. If you didn't follow me for a while, you've seen some other things. But right now, I've kind of settled and leaned into those things. And so one day when I was walking, and I was really just going through praise and worship, and well, Lord, 2022, 2022 is a year that I'm not only going to be winning, I'm going to be thriving. My word for the year is release. That's my word for 2022, release. Because I realized I had to be released from some things in order to make room for all these things that are promised to me in 2022. Now, I've gotten some promises that won't be shared today, but I've gotten some. There's some work that I've done in 2021 in order for these promises to actually come to fruition. There are some things, some hard things I worked through and walked through in 2021 in order for these things in 2022 to come through fruition. So I desire to remain released. I'm not going to win. I've always been winning, but I'm going to thrive in 2022 and beyond. And that's my desire. In order for me to thrive, I have to release. So I'm doing this walk, I'm doing my daily walk, I'm going back to it. I always begin something prior to the next year. I don't know, it's just me maybe, but it just does something to me to have that date of January 1, I'm gonna start January 1. Because why do I keep myself to that one day to begin. I know it's a new year, and I'm blessed and highly favored to be in this new year. I get it. I know it. I get it. I know it. But for me to wait for Jan 1 to do something that I know that I need to do, for me, it doesn't make sense. So I always begin prior to Jan 1, usually like right after Christmas time frame, because then, there are no distractions for whatever that is usually. So I went back to my walking journey with traveling and just the holidays. I had gotten off it a little bit. So that day, I was just really, thanking the Lord for all the things I know is going to happen in 2022. And I said that, right now I'm getting this physical part. That's one of the things, one of the goals that I have for 2022. And I'm thinking of the best way to jumpstart that thing, right? To really give it a quantum leap and jumpstart that physical part of it. So Holy Spirit said, your number is 7, right? So why don't you, for the next 7 days, walk this park every day for the next 7 days, walk around 7 times. Let's be clear, family. My knees are not what they used to be. Now, initially, I was excited. Yeah, that's my number. You all know my number is 7 because it is a number for completeness. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a moment when I talk about these power truths that I discovered in these 7 days, right? So, 7 days, 7 times. And I didn't get the 7 power truths that I'm going to share today. I didn't get them until the seventh day. So those 1 through 6 days was preparation for me to get the wisdom that was given to me on the seventh day, those 7 power truths. So I thought, okay, I can do that. Now I normally go around about anywhere from 3 to 5 times. I can do 7. Now, mind you, I wasn't thinking that I hadn't done this in a minute because of traveling. So it's been about 6 to 8 weeks since I've done the 3 to 5 times. But I can do that. That's what I said to myself. But in all reality, day 1 through 3 was hard. Hard, hard, hard. That park is a long park. But each day I was given some motivation every day. One day it was so hard. I'm like, Lord, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through today to get through the 7 days. Maybe I should only do a few rounds and then I can come back later because today, after doing 1 and 2, my ankle's hurting, my foot hurting, everything is hurting. But each time I thought that, okay, this is my last time and I'm going to take a break. He introduced me to somebody who was doing it anyway. One time it was someone who obviously had a stroke and had a cane, but was getting around that part. Not obviously they weren't doing it for 7 times, but they were getting it done. Another time it was a senior prime time individual, and she literally the step she was taking was no more than like this. So she wasn't taking long strides and long steps, but she was stepping. She was simply using what she had to get it done. So every time on that day, I got some motivation until I reached day 7. That was actually today. I reached day 7 on today. So I was excited about those things. Now, day 1 through 6, it was me going back and doing replays of some sermons that I've learned some things in. There's even a replay of a prayer that I participated in that we recorded and didn't realize that because I was in the middle of participating in the prayer, I didn't hear everything. So rehearing those for at least 3 of those 7 days blessed me tremendously. So the 7th day today is when I got the 7 truths, and I couldn't keep them to myself. This had to be the first broadcast for 2022 because I couldn't keep them to myself. So now I've started that journey. By day 7, no more ankle hurting, no more feet hurting, no more. The needs were, yeah, there's some little ache there because again, They're not what they used to be, but nowhere near day one. So what do I have now? I have evidence that I could minimally finish this and do those 7 days. So I'm going to get into those 7 power truths. And I had to write them down to make sure that I got them right for you. 7 power truths. The first one, I am a finisher. Now, God reminded me of this because I did an experience board. So, you know how everyone does vision boards the beginning of the year? What I've done, I started last year and I don't do it the beginning of the year, but I told you about that Jan one, right? I did it month 4 of 2020. Didn't do it at the beginning of the year, but I decided to do an experience board, meaning I wrote down everything I wanted to experience in my life. So there are things like peace, things like joy, and one of them on that experience board, and it was just a poster board in my handwriting, writing that down. One of them is I am a finisher. Because I have a tendency to be excited about some things sometimes, and I'll get right in the middle of it. And sometimes my attention would go to something else. So then I put on that board, I'm going to be a finisher in all things. I'm going to get to the end of every strategy until and I can pick up another one in the middle, but I'm going to get to the end of every goal, every strategy. I get the end of most of them, but some of them I kind of pull off. But my time is valuable even for me and to me. So I want to be a finisher. So today, when I said number 7, which is the 7th time I walked around, the first thing that came to my head is that I am a finisher. No matter how hard it was to finish this 7 day, 7 times challenge that nobody knew about, only I knew about, I did it. I am a finisher. And what does that mean? That means I have the ability to be a finisher all the time and everything in all times. So I won't pick and choose what I'm going to finisher because I hold that title of a finisher. I am a finisher every time. That's power truth 1. Power truth 2. I didn't see this first hill. What does that mean? So there are some hills, and I was used to knowing when I was going to have to walk and go a little bit up, that slanted area. It's going to be a little bit difficult going up that little hill, and I knew where they were. So I always readied myself for those particular areas. Sometimes I would change in my ear what was playing to maybe an upbeat song so that I can get up the hill. But I knew where they were 7 days, 7 times. Got used to knowing what they were. But to the last day, today, right in the beginning, there's a hill that I didn't notice until today, that first hill. And I thought about how that applies to me. I thought about how that applies to how I do things. So, what it reminded me to do is take more time in the beginning so that you can identify the first risk and mitigate the first risk, whatever that is, in my relationships, my business, career, my life. Take the time and pay attention to what happens in the beginning, that first hill. Power truth number 3. I needed support for one knee and not my entire body. So I realized by day 2, 3, that day when I was struggling, I kept saying, okay, in order to get through this, I'm going to have to get some things from my knees, some bands from my knees. I never did actually because I kept forgetting every time I went to the store. But day 7, what I realized is that Although the ache was as deep as it was on day one, there was really only one knee that was a little worse than the other that I'm going to need to get a band for. So, how do I apply that to my life and to this release that I'm committed to in 2022? Because I'm committed to thriving in 2022. Pay attention to the pain point, the real pain point. It all may seem like it's hurting, but it's not. There's just one pain point. It's like when I'm coaching my clients, there's that one pain point that's preventing her from allowing me to help her faith and her calling collide. It's usually just one pain point. That applies to me as well. It's not the whole thing, and I don't have to throw away the whole thing. I just need to identify one pain point. What's your one pain point? Sometimes it's that pain point that you're not paying attention to because there's so much going on that it seems like everything is a pain point. Like I thought my whole body was hurting, both knees were hurting. It's really just one. Yeah, I'm going to get that checked out, but it's really just one. What's that pain point? Power truth number 4. I am somebody's next time. As I did that 7 days and 7 times, I met quite a few people 7 days, 7 times, because I did it at different times throughout the day. I didn't do it the same time every day. Met several different people. And there was every day at least one person that said, wow, you've been walking around here for a while. And they would say something like, the next time I saw you, I was going to. So I was reminded on the 7th day that I am somebody's next time. What does that mean? That means that if I don't stay released, if I don't reach my goals, if I don't allow my faith and my calling to collide, then those people that are called to me, I can't be there next time. I am somebody's next time. So I owe it to them in order to make sure I identify the pain point, that I become a finisher, and that I look at the risks in the beginning so that I'm not overwhelmed with the risk I'm going to see as I get through this strategy and this goal. I am somebody's next time. Power truth number 5. Where will I take cover until it's over? Well, on day 7, it smelled like rain. It was the wind was blowing like it was rain. Everything about the air of the day said rain. But I knew that I'm going to be a finisher. This is day 7. So if it begins raining, I began to think about where I was going to take cover until it stopped, because I was going to finish this 7th time on day 7. And that reminded me, the 2021 was a hard year for me. It reminded me that I gave myself permission to take cover. You didn't hear from me a lot in 2021, not because I didn't love you, but because I did love you. So I needed to take care of me and take cover. And what does that look like in 2022, remaining released? That means that there are some people and things that I'm going to remain released from. That also means that there are probably going to be some people that's going to release from me, and I'm going to love them from afar anyway. I'm going to allow them to take cover, just like I took cover. I'm going to make sure that self-care is a part of my whole lifestyle in 2022 and beyond. So instead of me trying to figure out when I am going to engage in self care, it's on a calendar. It's on my calendar for 2022. How and when I am going to participate and in self care, because that's how I'm going to take cover. Power truth number 6. I'm lighter. Now, yes, my physical health was important to me. It's actually one of my values. So to make sure that I stayed really close to maximizing physical health for myself is important anyway. So that 7 days, 7 times itself, initially it was for me to be a finisher. It was for me to walk into 2022 as a finisher and beginning that journey. Actually didn't think in 7 days that I would lose. I wasn't thinking about losing any pounds at all. But today, the 7th day, I felt lighter. Now, I don't do scale because inches is really how my body changes what it looks like, not particularly pounds. Yeah, pounds I lose, but I lose pounds very slow. It is inches. So I already know that me getting on the scale is going to discourage me. It's not going to encourage me. So I don't do the scale. But I felt lighter today, and it was obvious for me today. I felt lighter. Clothes fit differently. The same shirt and in pants that I wore on day 3 fit differently on day 7. I was lighter. What is my word for 2022? Release. Family, when you release, you become lighter. When you release, you have the confidence to do that thing that you've been trying to do over and over again when you release. When you release, you actually don't have to add anything to replace whatever it is that you release. Remain lighter because whatever that is you replace, because you release, you're going to have more wisdom in order to handle that thing that replaced it. So you will remain released. Power truth number 7. It takes just as much effort to go downhill. And I realized that just today as well. That that same hill that I didn't discover on day 1. So going downward as after I went upward, I had to restrain myself. But again, I don't remember doing that prior to that too. But how we apply that, how I apply that to remaining released and thriving in 2022 is that when I'm going downhill, the same strategies as I use going uphill, I'm going to use. So let me just explain that. So something that doesn't seem as hard to do, I'm going to still pay attention to it and give it the effort and the attention it needs in order for it to be done in a high quality level. So people that I'm used to, I have this affirmation that I have the time to cultivate the relationships that make me happy. But sometimes I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't apply that to people I know and see and I automatically love on all the time. I love them the same way. But I'm going to cultivate. I am going to actually cultivate the time that is needed to make sure that relationship is solvent. Because if I see them regularly, they're important to me. So it takes just as much effort, use just as much effort to do the things that seem easy as the things that seem hard. Therefore, that effort, you're going to be over delivering that effort anyway, all the time. And if you engage in that self care that I talked about, no, you will not deplete yourself and you will not be overwhelmed. That's that balance that you're going to have. So, those are your 7 power truths. Being a finisher, I'm a finisher. I didn't see the first hill. I needed support. I didn't need support for my entire body, just that one knee. I am somebody's next time. Where will I take cover until it's over? That's that self care. I'll remain lighter and release. And it's going to take just as much effort for me to do the things that seem easy if they're important to me. 7 times, 7 days, and 7 power truths. 7 times, 7 days, and 7 power truths. So I thank you for joining me today for this first broadcast and this community. What if she knew she was powerful community? This is the only community that you'll find Life on Power shares lives, broadcasts like this. This is the only community. As a matter of fact, we're closing down every community that we've had and created except for this one. This is where you're going to find information for Life on Power events. You'll find it here and you'll find it on the business page. And on Facebook, business page is just at Life on Power. Hey, if you're looking at this on our YouTube channel, I'm going to ask you to do two things. You're going to subscribe and share. Help us build our YouTube channel as you get some great stuff. Share it with someone so that they can get some great stuff either. My name is Shirley, founder and chief power officer of Life on Power, and I'm glad that you're here. I would love to do this 2022 journey with you consistently. There are some wonderful things happening in the community of Life on Power. And what if she knew she was powerful? And Life on Power. Listen, you do not want to be the person that says, I didn't know, I didn't see it. So the best way for that not to happen is if you subscribe. You see it on the screen now. Go to www.lifeonpower.com and subscribe. That's where you'll get on our listserv, our email listserv, and you will get all the Life on Power event information coming up, including the end of the month. January 29th is the Pray Up. The Mix and Mingle Pray Up, our annual Mix and Mingle Pray Up. The theme, of course, is release. That's the theme for this year. But there is something else you don't want to miss is happening before the pray up. You don't want to miss. You want to make sure you get in this room. I'm telling you, I I can't even tell you all of it right now, but hopefully I'll be able to talk about it later on this week. But you do want that information ASAP. So make sure you subscribe. Go to www.lifeonpower.com. YouTube family, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and like and share. Subscribe, like, and share. In the community, go ahead and ask somebody else to join. You just got some 7 power truths that you want to share with them. One more thing. Thursdays, we're going to have Thursdays with the therapist. My therapist will be joining me every Thursday in the What If She Knew She Was Powerful community. Listen, this community in 2022 is going to be on fire. You want to make sure you get it all and share this with someone that you want to get it all. I'm logging off. I am going to take you back to your evening. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I'll see you later on during the week.